My dad told me God was going to remove his hedge of protection. And I understood in that moment that if God took his hand off my life, I was finished. I was never ever going to make it in life. Hi, I'm Tadana and welcome back to my channel. And this is part 2 of my testimony. So when I got to university, I lived in a boarding house with 22 people. And the majority of us smoked weed. And because of that, we became friends, a family, and a very strong community. We looked out for each other and we just belonged together. But there is something that I need you to understand about me during all of this. I knew God and I loved him. When I opened my mouth, I spoke words of wisdom and the people listened. I went to church every Sabbath. I read my Bible and I knew the life I was living was wrong. And deep down in my heart, I never wanted to disappoint my parents or the people who raised me, but I had become a prisoner. And I need to explain what that means because a lot of people don't understand this. A prisoner is not someone who wants to be in chains. A prisoner is someone who cannot get out alone. They can see the door. They know freedom exists, but the chains are just too real. You know the truth, but you cannot leave it. You know what is right, but you just can't choose it. You hate what you're doing, but you keep doing it. You want to stop, but there's just something that keeps pulling you back. That is not weakness. That is bondage. And here's what bondage does. It doesn't just trap you, it changes you. Everything I watched and listened to during that time showed me what the weed lifestyle looked like. The music, the movies, and the culture, all of it pointing to the same image. And slowly, without even realizing it, I started wanting to become that image. And that is when I got dreadlocks. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying everyone with dreadlocks is insane. That is not my place. But for me in that season, my dreadlocks were connected to the lifestyle I was living. I got them because of weed. That is the honest truth. And my identity began to shift. My appearance changed. How I just carried myself. Everything on the outside began to match and reflect what was in the inside. And that belonging was a trap. The devil doesn't just chain you. He decorates the cell. He makes you comfortable in those chains. He makes you think and believe that this is where you belong. And I was sinking deeper. But God never stopped reaching for me. Before every single party, I prayed, Lord, protect me. Even though I knew what I was doing was wrong, I still asked him. And there were moments I would just stand outside looking up in the sky and I would whisper, Lord, save me now, lest I perish. Right there in the middle of sin, crying out to him. And he heard me every single time. One evening, we were planning to go to a party. Out of nowhere, my mom texted. She didn't know where I was. She didn't know what I was planning. She didn't know what I wanted to do. She just said, stop whatever it is you're doing. And there and then, my dad texted saying, when you have praying parents, God reveals. And you know what? I didn't go. I just stopped. And some of the people who went to that party never went back home. There were road accidents. I was supposed to go there, but I didn't. That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was a hedge of protection from God. Then after that, my dad and I had a video call. And the moment his face appeared on my screen, our eyes locked. He didn't say anything about my dreadlocks. He didn't react in a way I expected. He just looked at me and what he saw wasn't his daughter. He saw something looking back at him that wasn't me. Something else had taken my place. We finished the call. Everything seemed normal on the surface. But at 3 a.m., my phone lit up. It was a very long text from my dad. He told me he had received a dream. And in this dream, he had a voice, and personally, I believe it was from God. He was told that he needed to explain something to one of his children, and he asked which child, and God specifically told him it was me, and it was because of my dreadlocks. So my dad explained that locks spiritually have been connected to people who evoke evil spirits, and God was telling him I was confusing my identity. And what I thought was just an outward change had opened a spiritual door. And my dad didn't know I was a smoker. He just thought I got dreadlocks to protect my natural hair. But God showed him the spiritual reality. Smoking had opened one door, but dreadlocks were opening another. So I texted a certain lady from our church, a woman I trusted. I asked her about my dreadlocks and she didn't hesitate. She said the very same thing my dad had told me. She told me I was never supposed to have locks and she warned me to remove them immediately. Not because I didn't believe my dad's dream, but I just needed clarity. And God gave it to me through my father's dream and her confirmation. And when you have that kind of agreement, you definitely know it's from God. On that video call, when our eyes locked, my dad didn't see me. He saw something in my eyes. Something was looking at him. And in that dream, he was told if I didn't change, God was going to remove his protection. And I knew that was true because God had already proven himself faithful in my life. Every party I didn't go, every text I received from nowhere, every moment God protected me from myself, that was the hedge. And it was about to be removed. And I knew I had to make a choice. So, if you are a prisoner right now and you know God, but you can't reach him, you know you love him with all of your heart, but you cannot live for him. Don't wait for a dream. It may never come. Don't wait for a warning. Don't wait for confirmation from someone else. Just return to God, because God is still reaching. God loves you, but he will not reach forever. So please, just stop whatever it is you're doing. Don't wait for anything. Just return to God. So part 3 is coming, and please subscribe, share, like, comment in the comment section below, and turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss part 3. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.